Okay, so I added a few things. Added this sort of background here off of a vectorstock.com image, just to give some context that this site's really going to be about layering. And I feel like that's sort of like an advanced skill, which unfortunately is underappreciated in actual web development. But the idea of like layering elements on top of each other is sort of like a, it's like nice to have, and it's a detail that like kind of only other web developers like notice or understand, but in general it's impressive, I guess, just because it shows that you are a little bit beyond just like lining things up. So that's gonna be kind of a goal here, is to like do that. And ultimately, I actually want to build like a 3D animation in the background, probably with like 3JS, and maybe something that is mildly interactive, like, maybe these dots like do something when you hover over them, sort of like a mysterious kind of thing. But for now, it's just a placeholder to show that, we're doing a little visual parallax where, the background is doing one thing while the interface is doing another thing. And so that's sort of like an interesting thing going on. And then there is quite a bit of like discoverable UI. Like, for example, these buttons only show up when you hover over them to like go to the next article, which, not really accessible. But, this site is, in as much as this is a blog to be read, it is also like just kind of visual funness. And let me see. I don't know if I need to do any other changes, but basically, yeah, it's kind of where we are. And I can demonstrate right now. Like, for example, I gave a background gradient to all of these things and these blog things, list things. And what you could do is, for example, you can change the opacity. So now, oops. Maybe it doesn't do opacity with gradients. I've actually never done it with gradients, so maybe it doesn't work that way. Okay, maybe it doesn't work with gradients. I'll have to investigate that. That's weird. I thought, that like should work. It probably because these colors actually have to be given an opacity. So I think that's why, like it would have to be something where like this was half. Yeah. This was given some. Okay. So that's what I technically want. Whoops. Didn't like that either. Black or dark blue. All right, but of course we don't want it that color. We want it to be closer to the brand. So let's try that one. Good. So now you can see there's like a little bit of, more visual things going on. And then even more so, you can add backdrop blur. I think I should blur, backdrop blur. This is like, I didn't even know this was a thing. I mean, I knew this was a thing, but like, I never even really thought about it for a long time. So like, I guess, this background's like really thin, so you can't really see, but it's like blurring the background. And actually, you know what? It might not even work with the gradient. So we might actually have to do background opacity 50, 10. Or maybe it's just blurred so much that like the dots just go to nothing. So that's probably what it is. But yeah. Actually, yeah, it's true. So, you know, one thing could be maybe it only blurs on hover. So then you can kind of see it's like the dots are going away. But maybe if actually made them brighter. So this is 100%. So yeah, now it's, yeah, you can kind of see there's like a little blur right here. Of course, this is, I mean, I'm like purposely making this really minimal. So like, it's not meant to be like visually stimulating, but you get the gist, you know. And that's another, you know, it's a lot of things. It's like things that transitions that happen, you know, and let's give it some tween so that, you know, you can kind of, the user feels like, things are happening. And like continuing with this video specifically, I want to definitely do more, more stuff with, you know, these buttons. Nothing's hovering. There's no, you know, things are pretty stale. And again, this is really for desktop users. Really, there's mobile people are literally going to just look at it and click and not even really even want to see any effects, because you know the mobile attention span is very, very low. So at the end of the day, this is all like in service of desktop users, or basically someone looking at your portfolio, I guess. So like, you know, one big thing is like a hover, right? Hover effects are sort of one of the main things that people look for. Whoops, that's like the whole thing. This should be full. Okay. I think I gave it way too much. So, oh, okay, this is a good lesson. And let's do text left. So I gave this whole thing padding, and now my button effect is not going to do the whole, it's going to like be stuck, whereas I wanted it to fill the thing. So there's two ways to go about it, because actually in my Figma, I was thinking this thing might actually just move when you like hover. So this is kind of like we're getting to a little more like advanced land. You know, it can move when you hover and like does stuff. Versus like each individual one sort of like coming alive. So undecided. So actually, you know, do I have to like undo all the padding just yet? No. But I also recognize that where I store this hover effect probably matters too. So I think what I'm going to do is create the hover box. Absolute. Relative. And that's the thing. It's like, where is it relative to? Because now we are stuck inside of this thing. Page 20. So it may actually be that in the parent component, we need to like do special padding for certain elements. Or even ultimately, you know, we talked about this line, or I was thinking about this line maybe also moving and doing stuff. So let's actually look at that, since this line already exists out here. And there's a few ways to do it. I think ref is the more is the more performant way. I mean, you could set state and tell this to be like, top 1, top 5, whatever. Which also I think like probably maybe we do want to use state now I think about it, just because maybe this line goes to a different place in addition to it sort of moving around. So let me think about this for a second. If we were, let's just do the effect, because we'll talk about, maybe we'll think about state later after we get it actually working. So let's say this is like the hover bar use ref. And now we're just saying this is HTML element. Oh, it has to be null by default, I believe, which is weird because what's the difference? And then, yeah, like the hover effect. Do I need to use the context? No, I think we can probably just like on hover is a state change probably makes the most sense right now. So like hover, set hover, use state. And I have no idea of this. We are just kind of, oops. Well, you know what? TypeScript.com set state action. Just, we'll cheat any. Just let it happen. Okay. On mouse over. Set hover. Whoop. Yeah, and now we're like, well, where should it hover? Are these equal increments? Are these actual, things? I think I might cheat right now and just do numerical. So I think the idea would be, we'll do +1. I mean, when too many components happening, set hover. So then right now set hover should be at 0. So we'll just like, would have to, basically would just map it out. We're like, hover states, 0 through 10. And they might be equal. Like it looks like this distance is equal right now. So like maybe we don't need to like specify hover states, and we can just go like, hover, this value gets times from the top. Well, now I think about it, maybe we do need to map it, just because I don't know if Tailwind is gonna like this. But we'll see. I've never really had good experience calculating Tailwind on the fly. It doesn't really like doing that. I mean, that's not what it's designed for. Well, let's make sure our hovers are happening. Okay, hovers are happening. So we need to like, and now I'm already seeing it. When this text breaks, then the thing isn't gonna line up. So already we got some issues here. I'll do just transition. I'll cheat it.